Welcome to PodKaSt with a K. I am your host, Christian Mishka. And with me today, yet again, for the 11th time, is co-host Stephen Lasco.
Hello. I'm still a guest, I guess. I don't
Did I
know.
say guest? I meant to say
No, you
co-host.
said co-host. You said co-host. It
You,
just
uh,
every time I sound like I'm a guest. It
we should
sounds like I'm
fix
a
that.
guest every time.
I mean,
All right.
you basically led some of them. You
True. Yeah, true.
Look, we've only had guests together, right?
Here is Christian's podcast. I am your host, Stephen. Here's your guest, Christian.
I see. We'll have to do a
It's
podcast
not right.
with
It's
an
just
with
not
an
right.
S later.
For April Fools, you didn't hear that.
Oh.
Cut it out of the video.
It's
Cut it.
already out. Luna's
Okay,
watching.
cool.
She nuked it.
Thank you.
And that's right.
Thank you,
We
Luna.
we did say the 11th episode. There is a hidden, lost 10th episode. Rest in peace. Um,
Yeah, there is. It's gone forever.
One half
Well,
of the
it's not.
audio was not recorded. So
One half
maybe
of
in
it.
the future we'll see us reenact it. Who knows? Um,
Kind of want to do that.
that could be fun. Um, so yeah, as you see, we have an interesting title today. It is not a succinct idea like meditation or what a insert other topic here that we've done in the past. Instead, we have this concept that Stephen has thrown at me, which I think is really cool, and we're going to just talk about and see where it goes. And what it says is inspiration versus making it real. How do we get from the ideal of something to actually doing it? What is the difference? And yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. So, do you want to introduce the idea as you pitched it to me?
Sounds good. Yeah. So this came to me. I feel like it sort of like bubbled up in my subconscious, and then like I became consciously aware of it, sort of. But the most clear example I have of it is my relationship with like the fantasy genre, like Lord of the Rings and stuff. So when I was a kid, or not necessarily when I was a kid, but before I got into fantasy at all, the only reason fantasy was interesting to me at all was because of the legendary aspect of stuff. Of like, there are epics, there are things that happened in ages past that like are very like they have real tangible effects here and now in the present time in the story. That kind of thing, epic stuff. Um, think of that as like an ideal. So you look at a book, you read the back of the book summary, you get a paragraph, and it talks about epic adventures and legendary stories. When you open the book and go to the first page, that's not what you get. You get they're sitting in their hobbit hole and they're eating breakfast or whatever. The individual parts are not necessarily enthralling. Not There's certainly enthralling parts, but not all of them. So, what's the deal? You're inspired to do something, like read a fantasy novel or whatever else. You start doing it, and you're not getting what inspired you. You are doing these mostly mundane tasks a lot of the time that are supposed to relate to what you want, but it's so distant. It's hard to capture your inspiration in the moment by moment steps it takes to do what you want to do. So, like reading a fantasy novel, if all you're looking for is that feeling of epicness and legendary stuff, it takes time, and it takes maybe an entire book or more to actually get to that level that you desired at the start. So that's why I we sort of we labeled this inspiration versus making it real, because the inspiration is great and it's an important part of a lot of things, but making it real, the difference between those things is something that I wanted to bring up.
Very cool. And you mentioned that it doesn't only apply to this kind of scenario that you brought up with fiction and all the nitty gritties that go into it, but you can also apply it to other areas of life.
Yeah, lots of things. So like I'll refrain from applying it to another form of entertainment. Um, So like say I'm struggling keeping up with school. Okay. Well, I'll probably have an idea in my mind of like an ideal of like, there's people out there who schedule their every day and they schedule their week out. They know when all their assignments are due for the next 2 weeks. They keep to their schedule every day and they have time to do, a lot of things. They have time to do things even besides school. Amazing. Um, that's a cool ideal. That's a cool ideal. It's a cool goal and it's a good idea. But you can't just have that. You can't just reach out and grab something like that. You have to. That isn't in front of you to take. It's not within your grasp to just. There it is. You have to. What it consists of, what that ideal consists of, is one day at a time. I schedule my day, and I keep to my schedule for that day. It's those individual things, day by day or hour by hour or minute by minute, that the ideal consists of. So it's a way of um, altering our perception of the things we really want. Um, Not necessarily altering it, but just being aware of what our ideals and what the things we love and want actually consist of. How you construct an ideal. That's
Hmm.
how I would say it.
Right. And when you say construct, you mean like actually getting it to being built or
Yeah,
realized.
exactly.
Hmm. So, I mean, I guess something that comes to mind is like, since we're talking about ideals and actually doing them, do you have an example of something that is like one of your ideals that you have been able to execute on? And then do you have an example of something that you haven't been able to execute on?
That's
So
a
that way
great
we can
question.
kind of analyze the difference
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think the school example is a pretty good one for me. Um,
as one that you think that you've
as
made real as like.
as one that I've made real to some extent.
Mhm.
Um, Reaching that sort of ideal. I'm not I haven't reached an ideal per se, but something that works for me
Mhm.
and that I would have wanted a long time ago too. Um, but it took years of procrastinating and not doing it um, in order to like stop obsessing over the ideal itself.
Mhm.
You know, at a certain point, I started to realize the substance of my ideal. I think that's good terminology for it. Instead of, in my mind, these ideals they can be a little abstract. They're not necessarily practical. They don't necessarily come with practical instructions. It's not necessarily intuitive how to do them.
Mhm.
Um, but once I let go of just the straight like I should be doing this, I should be better. I should be organizing everything well. I started to see the building blocks of how to do that. Of you introduced me to Notion. I think you introduced me to Notion.
Yep.
Good organization tool. Just putting things in my calendar, putting a lot of things in my calendar to schedule my days. I started doing it mainly out of necessity. Actually, this latest semester and the last one have been hard. Um, so I've been doing the thing, and the thing about it is that once I've started doing the thing and like actually brought it to fruition somewhat, it's like the ideal appears. It's like, oh, that's the thing I liked. That's the thing I wanted.
Mhm.
Oh, it's like coming at the ideal from a different direction. It's like you see it from this end. It's like, oh, I want that. Give me it right now, but you can't. You have to go through this, all of this, in order to actually get to it. You have to go through the process. It's doing the thing. You can't get the thing without doing the thing.
This is very true.
Yeah, and
This.
I think that's it can be weird for some people. It's not everyone. I think some people are good at that kind of thing.
Mhm.
They're good at being practical first and foremost. But not everyone. Not me.
Mhm. So there's kind of two separate parts to what we're talking about. And we've used a couple different words to describe them, like the inspiration, the ideal, kind of the goal, right? And
Hmm.
then we have the process, just doing it, all the details that get you there, right? And there seems to be either a gap between the two or just the fact that you're not doing the process and the process is required to have the goal, right? Like if the process isn't a habit in some cases, then you don't have the goal. Like if you just do it one day or you know one day out of a week, then you're not at your ideal.
Hmm.
So there's definitely a difference between those two things. So I
Yes.
think there's a couple ways we can kind of go with this.
Sure.
Like we can talk about shortening that gap, right? Like how do you
Hmm.
actually do it? How do you?
It's a good idea. What are the what? Why is it difficult? What are
Why
the
is it
difficulties
difficult?
involved?
Procrastination will definitely come up. Um, we can talk about why it's easy to love the idea versus, but maybe not the process. Um, and then there's something I definitely want to bring up, and I don't know at what point, but I think it's very relevant. Um,
What's that?
it's called it's a concept called the game of life,
Okay.
um, and it's pretty cool. Um, I
I'd
don't
love to
know.
hear that.
Yeah, I'll definitely tell you. I don't know if we should wait until we get to talking more about the process, though.
Okay.
So,
Happy to.
mhm.
Um, yeah. Do you want me to go over something that I haven't succeeded in?
Sure. Yep.
You did ask that. I mean, there's plenty of ideals, and it's hard to succeed in them. So there's many I haven't. Wait, I froze.
You did freeze. Why did you freeze?
I don't know. I'm gonna.
I'm
My
not frozen.
PC is melting.
Rip.
I'm like,
Are you watching the stream? Is that
uh, everything's frozen. So
I
just give
can.
me a second.
Oh, you're back, and I could
Okay,
I could hear you the whole time. So.
good, good, good. Just got to give it a little break. Exit some things here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So, ideal. I haven't. I don't know. I'm not as healthy as I want to be. Mentally healthy, as relationally, my relationships, stuff like that. That's an ideal I haven't reached yet.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to do. I see the ideal. I like to keep it in sight, and that helps. Um, but yeah, doing it is hard. So, shall we get into why is it hard, and then from there go to the game of life?
Sure. I think that sounds
All right,
good.
sounds good. Sounds good. So, why is it hard? Why is it hard to approach something you want to do? Why is it hard to change the way you act
I think.
to become more of an ideal?
Mhm. I
Have any
think
thoughts?
there are probably a couple things. One could be like your ideal is too vague, so you don't actually know what it looks like, right? Like it's just an abstract, vague concept. It's like, oh, I've seen how people schedule their lives, but you don't actually know what it's like. So it's hard to like actually know when you've reached your goal. So I think that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing. I think another thing is there's just a barrier. What you want it to look like, but there's just something in the way that's keeping you from getting there. And I think that there's probably a couple things that could manifest in that, but like with procrastination could be one of them. It's like just getting started is the hardest part because you want it to be perfect. That
Yeah.
that could come with perfectionism as well. You're like I want to be able to get to this goal immediately, and that's kind of looking at the problem too quickly, maybe. Um, so something too big in the way could hinder that goal.
For
Those are the
sure.
first two that came to mind. Did you have anything else?
Yeah. One reason why I think these things can be hard is because ideals can be lofty, and people expect too much of themselves.
Mm, they're not realistic
They're not
expectations.
realistic. Yeah. So something I heard from Dr. K.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Dr. K. It's an interesting perspective on it. So we've all heard, I think we've all heard to, well, maybe not everyone has heard this, but to start small with your goals. So say you want to exercise, start with a small goal of like 10 minutes every other day. There's a goal.
Start with 1 minute.
Start
Start
with
with one
one
minute
minute.
every day.
Start with something that
One
you can
push-up.
do without too much trouble. Yeah, like one push up,
Yep.
exactly. And then, a lot of people hear that advice and they start doing it, and then it's like, oh yeah, I did it yesterday. All right, I'll do 2 minutes today. I'll do two push-ups today. Oh yeah, I did that. I'll do three push-ups today. And it's like, that sounds great. But no, stop it. Don't do that. Slow down. You don't have to increase it so quickly. Because the minute you increase it, the minute you stop succeeding in your goals. As soon as you get past a barrier, suddenly you're not succeeding anymore. And you're like, what's happening? And you don't want to go backwards. No one wants to go backwards. No one.
I have personal experience with this.
Do you?
I do. So in
Yeah.
January, I did exactly this. I started with 10 push-ups a day because I knew I could do it easy. And then after like a week, I bumped it up to 15 and then 20 and then 30 and then I got up to 40. And I think we're talking like we're into like February now. And then I don't remember the timeline after this, but and then something happened such that I stopped doing it for like a day or two. And then I was like, 40? Come on. That was a little much. And then I couldn't do like I just didn't do it. Um, and when
Uh,
I would see that reminder, it's like 40 push-ups, like, bruh, not again. Or up to three planks, because I was doing a rotation of different things. I was like 3 minute planks, like, a
mm,
minute is good, please.
mm-hmm.
Um, so, but those 10 push-ups, easy. Every day, easy. That's 70 push-ups a week, right? Like that's a lot more than zero.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but once you get
Sure.
up, once the threshold gets up to 40, then it's like, ugh. So yeah,
Yeah.
personal experience there. Can say that I didn't realize what you just said at the end. Um, you don't want to go back, but it's totally correct. Um,
No one wants to.
yep.
Yeah, I have experience with this as well, for sure. In exercise, definitely had the same thing. I expected too much of myself, too much of a time commitment. Not necessarily like practically, it was too much time for me to take out of my day, but just mentally, I just like at a certain point, things get stressful and it's like that goes out the window. Um, so, one example of something that has gone pretty well for me is my when I wake up. My ideal of waking up is like 7 a.m. at the latest. I want to wake up at 7, get started. But I've been waking up at 8 a.m. for quite a long time now. And I've dipped down where I've started waking up later for a few days, but I'm able to stay at 8 a.m. It helps that one of my classes is at 9 a.m.
Hmm.
But nonetheless, like I'm keeping it at this baseline. Don't have to push myself further until I actually feel comfortable with this. Until I feel like this is actually normal, I'm not about to just slip into old habits, kind of thing. Like, it could be a year before I willingly wake up at 7 regularly,
Hmm.
unless it's for a job or whatever. That's okay. It's that kind of mindset. Being easy on yourself, letting yourself have those victories, have those small goals and have those victories. Anyway, yeah, that's just one of the reasons why I think it's hard. People put too much on themselves. I think
Definitely.
that has to do with the barrier too.
Yep.
Yeah, just too much of an incline.
It's too steep, too
Too high of a
soon.
wall.
Yeah. And
Mm,
there's different ways that can manifest, right? Like it can just be the initial entry is too high, like you're trying to do too many push-ups, or you're trying to wake up too early, or you're trying to do too much homework at a certain amount of time. Or it could be a bunch of little things that build up together, right? Like you're
mm,
just not breaking the process down and chunking them at different times, right?
mm.
Like don't do 100 push-ups all in the morning. You can do 10 push-ups 10 times in the day. Um, maybe, right? That's
Yeah,
your mileage will
for
vary, but
instance. Yeah.
don't do like 3 hours of homework. You're not going to feel so great by the end of that. It's like do 3 hours of homework with 15-minute breaks in between. Um, just or or even if the goal is too big and you haven't broken it down, like, oh, I've got this big project due, then it's just this big thing that's manifesting in front of you. It's just like, it's a big thing that I need to do. I need a bunch of time to
No.
finish it. But if you actually just say, okay, I'm going to take 15 minutes, look at it from a very, like, external perspective, be like, okay, these are some things that need to get done for it. And then each of those things can go off and be like, all right, this is what I'm going to do for 15 minutes. And then that'll do another 15 minutes tomorrow. And just chunking it down into bite-sized pieces. That'll
100%.
break up those larger goals.
Yeah. I find fully understanding the thing I have to do before I actually start tackling the first thing
Yeah,
is very helpful. Very helpful indeed.
definitely.
Um, yeah, so the substance of the ideal. Um, I feel like we've gotten into the weeds a little bit. Um, I want to zoom out for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So for the one of the examples we gave, it's not necessarily like your ideal may be to finish one project.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the ideal I'm speaking of is a broader is a big picture thing. It's
There's
something you change about yourself.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
almost
mean?
like there's two different kinds of ideals here. There's like there's like the goal, right? It's like there's
Yeah, yeah.
timetables on it. It's a project, right? It could be a school thing, it could be a personal thing, like you're building an app or something. It's going to have like an end date or um, some sort of launch date, right? Where you
Mm-hmm.
know that you've done the work such that you've succeeded your goal. Like it might continue beyond there, but there's a milestone. And then there's the other kind, which is the much more vague kind, like I want to be healthier, or I want to get up earlier, or I want to enjoy myself more, or have more successful relationships. And those are much more vague, and those will be lifelong goals, right? Those don't necessarily have milestones. Like maybe you can set some personal milestones,
Mm-hmm.
but those aren't going to be like, oh, there's a date when I know I've succeeded to this thing. Maybe not right off the bat. Maybe you can turn it into something like that, um, if that's useful. But yeah, I think is that what you're getting at? Like, there's two kinds of ways of looking at these things.
Yeah, and I don't think that they're that either is unapplicable to this topic at all. I
Hmm.
think they both are. You can apply this sort of thinking to both.
Hmm.
It's about who you want to be. So even if you have a project due, your ideal may be that I'm going to work on it daily and I'm going to be productive on it, not going to stress out about it, and it's going to get done on time. That's quite the ideal, or goal or whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
The actual doing it is, and maybe this is what I want to separate. There's something to separate here, but
Okay.
it's the concept of like doing the thing. It's the concept of being the kind of person who does what you want to do.
Hmm.
The kind of person who gets a project done on time and isn't stressed about it and all this stuff. That's vague, but the kind of person who does that is someone who takes care of themselves and takes time for themselves in order to fully focus on what they're doing. They're not freaking out about it. They can't let themselves get freaked out about it, or else, the whole concept goes out the window, right?
Hmm.
So it's the difference between how you perceive the kind of person who's able to do this and what the person is actually like.
Sure.
That's, I think, what I want to poke at here.
I think I noticed two things from what you said. Like
Mm-hmm.
one is a secondary desire, right? Like wanting to want something, and then the other one is all of the things you're not thinking about that go into that ideal, right?
Hmm.
Like I have the ideal of being a healthy person, but that has so many other manifestations that I'm not thinking about. I'm like almost too focused on being a healthy person that I'm not thinking about these other things that make someone healthy, right?
Yes,
Or that make
yes,
someone
yes.
productive. Um,
Yes.
so
Totally.
kind of, yeah, not focusing too hard on a single ideal, but realizing all the things that kind of interconnect.
It's this whole you almost take on a whole craft
Mhm.
with along with doing it. So like, have you ever seen Karate Kid or almost any
Yes, a
old
long time ago.
karate movie?
Yes.
Okay, you'll get the archetype here.
Hmm.
Okay, classic karate flick. Student goes to teacher, says, "I want to learn this. I want to beat up the bad guys. I'm gonna be real good." And the master, first thing the master does in like every movie is they knock their pride down a couple notches. They go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, you're gonna fight all the dudes, sure." No, you're not. That's not what it's about, right? So they start talking sense into him, and they start talking about what it's actually about. So you could relate this to like researching your ideal. If you want to be productive, you can do some research into it. You can look into mental health things, productivity tips, okay? But just reading that isn't going to do it. The next thing that happens with like a student and his master, once he kind of gets knocked down a few pegs from that inspiration stage, of wanting to get into the martial art. Next thing that happens is the master starts him on basics. You know, he starts doing the boring things, the things that he doesn't necessarily want to do,
Hmm.
and then you build up very slowly over time, and you always get the scene in the movie where the kid has the opportunity to do what he wanted to do with his martial arts, was like beat up the bad guys, but instead he shows the actual philosophy behind what he wanted to do. What he didn't realize was what he wanted. Like in martial arts, there's always the philosophy of like you're not going to start a fight. You don't want to even fight. The
Yep.
the best thing to do is not fight. But a lot of these students, they walk in, they want to fight. They want to learn how to fight. And so they start to learn that they saw this martial art, they saw this ideal, they wanted to be it, and they thought it was all about fighting people, and it's really not. And that's what they're able to do once they get past the inspiration stage and start working on the basics and learning the craft of it and
Hmm.
learning the ideas behind it, the philosophy, the mental state behind it. They start in letting go of the inspiration, not necessarily letting go of the inspiration. The inspiration isn't necessarily inaccurate
Right.
a
It's
lot
a
of the time.
spark.
Right, it's a spark. It's not letting go of it. It's letting that fade to the background. You're getting there. But what's directly in front of you is the basics, is doing the thing. This ideal of this martial art or whatever else you want to do boils down to taking one step and throwing one punch at a punching bag and doing that 100 times, 1,000 times, and then taking the next step and learning from the ground up what it means to do something like that. It's that moment by moment process.
Yep. I think that's a beautiful example. Um, yes.
I wanted to get to your game of life.
Okay. Um,
Yeah, what is this about?
so the game of life. Oh, do I know where I found it from? Hold on. I want to cite this properly. So I have Notion open. This is. I'll probably
Hi
just
guys, my name
link
is
it
Ryan.
because
I'm
it was so
currently a
useful
first
to
year
me.
PhD student.
I found it in a video by this guy named Ryan Ong, but I don't know where he got the concept from. I'm pretty sure it's probably more well known. But the concept is to run your life like a game, and it's called the game of life. And you have four aspects, four roles in the game of life: the captain, the navigator, the executor, and the shipwright or the engineer. And each of these is you, but a different aspect of yourself. So the engineer determines the goals and the dreams, right? They're looking out and figuring out what you want to do.
Oh,
And
is that the navigator?
this is the captain. They
Oh,
know.
it's the captain. That's the
Yes,
captain.
the
I heard engineer.
navigator
Okay.
is planning the course based off of the goals and dreams determined by the captain. Like the captain's like, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to get the ship. Like we're gonna go fight the bad guys. We're gonna go get the treasure,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The navigator's like, okay, well, we're gonna go this way to get to them and avoid that, and they're planning the route. And
Mm-hmm.
then the executor does the work. They report progress and feedback back to the navigators. The navigator then, if they need to, report progress back to the captain. Be like, oh well, is this really a goal that we want to be doing? There's kind of this cycle that's going between these roles. And then you have the shipwright or the engineer who builds the systems to make the game of life easier,
Mm-hmm.
and allow you to go farther. So the engineer might be the one who does this kind of meta research, like how do we make our ship go faster, right? Well, or how do we actually, as an actual example, how do we make our life more efficient? How can we not spend so much time worrying about when to do homework? Okay, well maybe we can use a calendar, integrate a system into our life, or
Mm-hmm.
Notion, or places to keep notes. These are different systems that we all use to get to make those goals go along smoother. Um, the executor just uses the systems, doesn't think about how they work, right? Doesn't set them up, just uses the systems, just does the homework, just does the thing, works on the project, and then is like, okay, well, that took longer than I thought. Report it back. Okay, well, that was faster. What did I do differently? Did I do anything differently? Report it back. Navigator's like, oh, cool, that was faster. Well, maybe we can do it more like that. Or like, oh, that was a little bit slow. We need more time for that. And
Mm-hmm.
kind of realizing the planning of all the things that they're doing. And then occasionally, like, you spend the least time with the captain because the captain's just there to determine the focus, the goal. So,
Mm-hmm.
maybe this is kind of going beyond what the video is talking about, but maybe like your captain is not someone you talk to, maybe it's like once a week or once a month. It's like determining any sort of shift in goals.
That
Um,
sounds like the inspiration
yeah, absolutely.
phase. What I'm talking about.
I think it would definitely be. And like in your example, maybe the inspiration is okay, well, not in your example, but also in your example. In the karate example, the
Mm-hmm.
inspiration, the captain is like, I want to fight, you know? And
Yeah.
then and then the navigator's like, all right, we're going to go to karate school. That's how we can learn how to fight. And the executor's like, all right, we're going to be fighting. The engineer's probably not as applicable in this example, but maybe. And then, starts learning the basics, right? And the executor's like, this is boring.
Yeah.
And the shipwright's like, or the navigator's like, okay, well, we're on course, we're doing the plan. But then eventually, right, we're going to get to that point where the philosophy gets in, and it's like the navigator's reports back to the captain, and the captain's like, oh, the goal isn't to fight people anymore. The goal is to be good in our craft, right? To do these things well so that we can defend ourselves because these are the more important things. Like that
Mm-hmm.
that that was an old goal, fighting people. Now that we've acquired this new goal, we have this new focus and then we can report that back and like how can we refine our practice? How can we go about doing these things better?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
For sure.
that is the game of life.
That's fascinating.
Hmm.
I feel like there's a lot of threads of different productivity concepts woven in there.
I think so as well, yeah. There were aspects of things you were talking about earlier that reminded me of it and why I searched my Notion up for it. Um, with like the difference between actually doing it, the executor, and then the inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's differences there. I think that's a big part of my karate example. I think.
Hmm.
At the same time, I'm kind of afraid that my karate example is a little limiting.
Sure,
Um,
I would say so.
it's
Yeah.
a little bit limiting because I was saying how the student, their inspiration is misguided, basically, but that is not necessarily the case.
Right.
Inspiration does not have to be something that changes even during the course of what you do.
Yep.
You know,
But it's
the
probably
captain,
going to.
it definitely could,
Hmm.
for sure. It's probably likely, yeah. Going into it, you have certain ideas, but you still have this spark, you know. And so, for a student who's not just looking to beat someone up, let's say,
Yeah.
student who's looking to and just says, "Wow, this looks awesome. I want to do back roundhouse kicks. That looks really fun. I'm going to be, I'm
Yeah.
going to be perfectly centered. And so it's sort of sensationalized, but it's still accurate.
Hmm.
And so they go through the basics, they go through all the nitty gritty, the navigator and the executor following along, doing their work. And instead of constantly going back to the captain and searching for what the captain wants only, that's the thing. You can't always go back to the captain.
Hmm.
You go to him once, and it's like, okay, yeah, good idea, cool, let's do it. And then the navigator and executor take over. If you go back to the captain all the time, he's gonna be bored. He's gonna be like, I'm not there yet. I
Yeah.
haven't reached it yet. This isn't enough.
Hmm.
But the fact is that his ideal is not something he can just have. It's something he has to build,
Hmm.
and that's what he's doing. I think that encapsulates it very well.
Yeah. And like not spending too much of your mindset in the captain's quarters, right?
Hmm.
Being able to kind of flow between those different roles so
Yeah,
that
it's
you
not
can
being
get those.
obsessed. It's not
Hmm.
being obsessed with that one tasty concept.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of a shifting focus from just the concept to I am building the concept.
Hmm.
What I'm doing every day is making that happen. Yeah,
Indeed.
pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Awesome. I like
Stonks.
that. Great convo, man.
Indeed. I love that. That was great.
Awesome. I loved it too. That's a real talk right there.
That
Sorry,
was.
I don't have an answer for that.
Alexa, mute.
Alexa wants to get in on that real talk.
She does. That's all she wants to do.
But does she want to get in on the real talk with a lowercase r?
She'd probably be better there, to be honest.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Dude, I love the real talk with a lowercase r. It's what I live for. It's what I breathe.
Dude.
It's what I eat, actually.
Do you?
This is actually. I mean, if you guys didn't know what the real talk with a lowercase r is, it's right here. I have a bag of them.
Can you drop it onto the screen so that it displays?
Uh,
Oh, just like smear it in. Smear it in.
oh, sure.
Oh yeah, awesome.
There
Wow.
you go. There you go. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, you should
I
be
think
feeling it. It should be.
this warrants a second pair of glasses.
Oh, dude, that's a great idea.
How should I do this?
That looks great.
There, can you tell? When I'm close, you can tell. I can't tell.
That
when I'm
looks
far.
great.
You look great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so you should feel the real talk flowing through your bones, not your veins. Make sure it's not flowing through your veins.
Right.
If it is, that's a problem. Your bones. You should be feeling your heart in your
Spleen.
shins.
Oh yeah.
Spleen as well for sure. Shoulders, head, knees, and toes. All
Is
of
it a
those.
bone heart? Is it different?
No, it's the power of it's the power of real talks flowing through your corporeal essence,
I see.
expanding the space within your limbs. Yeah, perfectly safe, probably.
Right.
So don't worry about it.
Oh, I just remembered something. You know how we mentioned that the 10th episode had issues?
Oh yeah,
Well, I
Issues.
mean, for the record, clearly Comic Sans redacted it, and they won't let us publish it until we make edits to it. So that's the
Oh, no.
real reason.
oh no, we can't edit that out. That was all gold. Every femtosecond of that
I
was
know.
gold.
I know.
There's not even enough frames for it to have differences between femtoseconds, but it was all gold.
I mean, we were using the new camera, so maybe it did. Like, we were in our section of the universe. And somehow
Yeah.
they got the recording footage and they knew it was us.
It's because we used a red camera, isn't it?
We
It's
got to
probably
make our
how they
own
knew.
brand.
Yeah, really. Jeez. How are we gonna make our own brand, our own cinema camera though?
Uh, I mean, how many people do we have in our pocket of the universe?
We have 700 and -4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the
Is
negative
that enough?
4 can work on that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. They have a lot of bandwidth right now.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I'll talk to them.
Okay.
I think the problem is that Comic Sans was able to crack the quantum mechanics working within that camera. I don't think we can use quantum mechanics with this new one. I think we might have to use astral mechanics.
Okay.
There's
Astral
no,
mechanics would help.
yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to crack that encryption.
Hmm.
As I was just learning, now that we've proved that P equals NP, cryptography is basically no longer a thing. Therefore, we're going to have to use a different kind of
Right.
encryption, astral encryption.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't find the next P equals NP with astral. But
You
I
didn't write it down, right?
no, I didn't. I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either. Nobody write that down. It's a bad idea. Whoever does it first, that's the end of the podcast, guys.
And the universe. And maybe all of
I
them.
wasn't gonna go there.
Okay. Okay.
Well, that depends on a different theorem we'd have to prove whether it ends all of them.
Okay. Yeah, we would have to prove that too. So a subset could still exist.
Yes, we
Would
could
a sub
escape to that subset.
would that subset have Comic Sans in it?
Well, Comic Sans
Are they
has taken
beyond?
over the majority of the
Hmm.
multiverse,
Yeah.
almost all of the multiverse. So it's kind of hard to. It's going to be hard to locate it, and we'll have to be very lucky if they aren't actually there.
Would you say that they took over a countable or uncountable infinity of the
Mm,
multiverse?
it's uncountable,
Oh
but
gosh.
it's almost all of the uncountable
Okay.
multiverses.
Okay.
Almost all.
So there's
So the
still
ratio is like there's. It approaches like the number of things they own from almost every way to measure it is all of them, but it's not actually literally all of them.
okay.
That's how it works. I looked for them. I found them.
Okay, and we own one.
We do own one.
Okay.
That's good.
That's good.
I'm not sure if Astral P equals Astral NP there. I haven't
True.
checked.
Okay.
We're gonna check that.
Yeah.
Let's do that this weekend.
Okay.
Make
We'll
sure.
we'll have Luna check it out.
Okay, good. Yeah. Nukes will be of assistance for sure.
Yes.
Mhm.
Astral nukes.
Astral nukes for sure. Um,
Yeah.
I was contacted by someone recently. I want everyone to hear this, but
Mhm.
about Comic Sans, so just like snip this out. Okay? Okay. I was contacted by a mysterious individual recently. He sent, I don't know how he did it, but all I saw, the only information I had on him was messages that he sent on my arm. It was literally like text messages scrolling across my skin, but it was
Oh.
it was clearly a tattoo
Mhm. An animated
moving
tattoo.
across my skin. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
He's from that one.
Yeah, that's a new one for me. But um, he was talking about Dong.
Dong.
Dong, yeah, it's an acronym for Dipherial Omega New God.
Okay.
And I had never heard of it before. I'm guessing you hadn't heard of it before.
No, I heard a different dong.
You've heard a different. Okay, different
Yeah.
dong. What dong did you hear of?
Do online now, guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one. That one. It's actually unconfirmed. I did ask him. He hasn't answered yet whether or not that's the same dong. It's
Oh.
just an alias.
Mhm.
It's like the thing they give out so that nobody kind of knows what it is.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, this guy's offering us an opportunity. So he's offering us the chance to be a bisected, basically gods of our own dimension,
Okay.
And it was a fascinating business endeavor to look into for sure. I did a little bit of Googling.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like a reputable source from what I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to let you know that this is a business opportunity we could get into.
This is true. I mean, we already have our own universe,
Right.
so it
It's
almost seems
true.
like he's trying to pick our minds, you know? And if
Mm,
he, I don't know what the agreement has in it, but if he can get any piece of us, I don't like that.
that's true. We don't want to be gods chained down by this guy either. If
Right.
we're gonna become gods, like you got
Just
to be careful of those
got to do it
contracts.
wholesale.
100%. Otherwise, way too risky.
Yep.
Way too risky. I'm not totally on board yet either. By the
Mm-hmm.
way,
Mm-hmm.
just letting you know, I'm worried about it. I've never been a god before personally. I've noticed people who have been and who actually left it because it just wasn't the business for them.
Okay.
So that's a possibility. We'll have to make sure it's in our contract that we can leave
Yeah,
at a
that's
certain point
very important.
if we decide to go in that direction.
Now, would there be? Yeah, I guess there might be loopholes with that, though. Because if you could leave, then theoretically you could set up a thing such that it can turn you into one again. So,
True. True. That's if you're in the same dimension and
right.
stuff.
So
There's some
maybe.
stipulations.
Oh, he might be leasing you the dimension.
I don't know if I want to deal with leasing.
Like there might be build grist costs or something.
Oh, you're right. You're right. No, I want to be a dimension owner, not a dimension renter.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to pay, you know, 16 years per hour of life in order to pay it off in time, it's just what I got to do. But I'm not renting.
Yeah.
It's just a money sink.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just get them back to work building our god complex.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I want that thing as impressive as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Clearly.
know, we've spoken about aesthetics a little bit, but I just want to emphasize that I need that version of me with the triangular torso installed on that god complex as a statue. I need it. I
Mm-hmm.
can't
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain why, but it's just something I need for me. You
Is
know.
the triangle flat on top?
No. It's a pyramid. It's a
Oh.
pyramid. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah. It comes to a point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then like
Just
a big head that's
right.
like spinning around on top of it.
100% in every direction if possible.
It can spin upside down like this, like
The spinning
rolling.
in every direction if possible.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that would be ideal.
Different parts of it spinning in different ways too. It's like, and then it lines up occasionally.
You're a genius, dude. Multi-dimensional head spins. I love it.
Yes,
That's
4D,
so
5D.
neat.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then everyone will come to the temple on those moments, such when it's all aligned,
oh my
and it can be a
gosh, that's
festival.
great. I love it. Like it always happens on a certain day of the year or something.
Yeah,
That's great.
like
That's
like
great.
every Monday.
Every Monday of once a year.
Oh, you
I
want it
love
to
it.
happen less often?
No. Every year, but every Monday.
Okay. Yeah.
The intersection of those two things.
Yes, yes. Every year, every Monday.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I'm trying to think of what your statue should be like now. I'm considering Inside Out. What do you think? An
In
idea. It's an idea.
like you are inside of the statue or like
No. Like your statue is Inside Out.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh
It's just a concept.
mhm.
And people looking at it, well, they might need. We might actually need to give out special glasses for them to actually observe it
Right, that
in a
like
way that's safe
undoes
for them.
the inside out.
Right. That sort of converts it to the three-dimensional space that they're
Like
going to
you
live
just
in.
do this and then
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And we'll have to have release orders and stuff. It's a bit of a pain, but I just thought, it kind of just it fit you. You're bigger than life. I thought that really captured it.
Bigger on the inside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your heart's bigger than the sum of your parts, man.
There we go.
I wanted to capture that.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
No problem, man.
We can put my heart on display too.
If you're inside out, we absolutely can.
Yeah. We
Sounds like a
can
good
have your
idea.
statue looking at my heart. And that only happens once a year.
Oh, I love it. That could be a second time during the
Yeah.
year. Incredible. You're a
Yes.
genius. This dimension's going to be sick, gotta say.
Oh yeah.
If I had any dimension to choose to live in, it would surely be that one.
I mean, we're building it right now.
Well, I know, but, we can't live in it yet, but
Yeah, how far are we? Like, I mean, like, what does that look like?
like 74 astral acres in, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
74 sounds right.
It's a little bit far away, so
It's a bit, hey,
we should get some acceleration going.
listen, we have our ideal in mind, but it's the everyday, step-by-step process that's going to make it happen.
There we go. We are the captains.
Hmm.
We also do some of the other stuff.
We do some of the other stuff. Mostly it's the -4 people, though.
Yeah, the -4 people are really pulling their work, making their
They really
numbers
are.
like quadruple. It's
Yeah,
crazy how much they can do in no time at all. Like
it's
opposite of time.
pretty impressive.
They
They're well-trained
steal
interns, gotta
time.
say.
They steal time from the other workers. That's how they do it.
Is that it?
If they do so much work, then we're doing no work at all. In no time at all, I mean. All the work in no time. Imagine we have our 700 workers working for an hour each. That's 700 hours. Then we have our 4 workers working for 700 hours, and that equals nothing. We've done it in that much time. This is how. Man, we gotta hire some more negative workers. Like, geez,
We need to pay these guys more.
they give us money.
I'm just kidding.
They give us money.
I'm just kidding.
They don't want it.
Sorry. That was funny. No, not at all. I mean, I haven't asked them, but
Oh, okay.
have you asked them?
No, I've just observed them emptying their pockets as they walk and do their work.
I heard they did that. Never sure why.
I think it's
Funny
because
bunch.
they're actually going through time backwards.
Oh.
So to them, what they're doing is destroying everything. But to us, they're just building it.
Dude, how useful is that?
Right?
Win-win, dude.
I know.
Our managers, they're smart. They're smart cookies.
Yeah.
I'll say they're doing everything right.
Could-
They better, but they're doing everything right. Good on them.
Couldn't agree more.
Agreed. I'm
Except,
excited for them.
oh, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say that we need to buy a couple more switches for the office
Oh, for why?
because we're going to be hiring more negative workers. We got to hire a couple more switches.
Switches?
Yeah, switches.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they play Smash on their breaks all the time,
Yeah, this is true. Like 24/7.
24/7, just like how long they do their work.
Well, I mean, hours are different in our universe, but that's okay.
True. Analogous.
Yeah, analogous. Like, we still haven't set that parameter, I think. It's probably in one of the directories that we
It's
haven't
probably
explored.
it's actually probably a garbage value still.
Yeah.
We never said it. It's just some random. It's probably like 96.4 or something.
Oh, it's just from the RAM. Well, it's from the RAM of the previous singularity.
Yeah, and we just never changed
Never
it.
reset
That's embarrassing. Should always zero out your variables, guys.
Yep.
Whenever you delete an old dimension, making a new one.
Although, having some randomness is kind of cool. It allows
I
for
agree.
like interesting fractals and things to just appear and formations. If you went
Very
completely
true.
blank, then you'd have to organize it exactly how you wanted to. Like, we only know a couple people who've done that.
Right, and that's a lot. Like that is an OCD beyond any level I can comprehend.
Right, like, man, Earth? Goodness.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
Hundreds of years just to create a single 7 days.
That's crazy, dude. I wouldn't do that. It's just not for me. They can do that all they want. I'm more of a Set it and
Let it
and
go.
let it.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. See, this is why we're such good partners, such good dimension building partners.
indeed. It's the glasses.
It's the glasses, but it's also our visions just mesh.
Yeah,
I greatly look forward to this dimension we're going to live together in
me too. Me too.
for all of eternity.
We're what?
What?
Oh,
What? No, no, no. What? What'd you say?
what did you say?
Um, that I'm looking forward to living there with you. It's gonna be great.
Where we all.
Where we live together within
Oh,
the dimension.
oh, okay, okay.
I'm really looking forward to that
Cool, cool. Me too.
greatly.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Did we come up with a name for it yet?
Oh no, we didn't, did we?
No, I don't think so.
Any name ideas, man?
Hmm.
I'm thinking. Diagonal Rift. No, what do you think?
Diagon Rift.
Diagon Rift. Ooh, I like it. Never heard Diagon used. Well, I mean, it's been used an infinite number of times, but
Right, but I mean,
not
geez.
within our neighborhood
True,
of
true.
dimensions.
We traveled quite a bit. Comic Sans has made us travel quite a bit.
Not anymore, man. Soon enough.
Soon enough.
Soon enough. Look
Gotta
forward to it.
beef up the firewalls, though.
Yeah, well, if they do the same thing they did to, Dimension 74X XY Gamma,
Yep.
uh, yeah, you don't want to be caught behind a metaphorical locked door as they're astrally burning your dimension to the ground.
Nope. I wouldn't want that.
Mm-mm. Their screams were something, man. I pulled my phone out and recorded a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got some good money for them because it's such a rare occurrence to find something like that. Posted on Live Leak and got a couple hits, but not fun. Not fun.
Nope. Wouldn't like that.
Mm.
I mean, it was like what happened to Dimension 420 Oxygen. Like, whew.
Oh, oh, oh!
Just saw
Makes my
smoke.
skin crawl, dude.
Yeah. Everyone just turned to smoke. That's what happens when you mess with the parameters of reality. The firewalls protect it all.
And if it's not built right, it'll just come crumbling down. The firewall itself, too.
Yep.
See, we definitely got to get a licensed professional on that.
It could be a problem because all of the universal connection network connections could be infected, which could result in like a
True.
meta singularity.
Oh, great! Not one of those.
Yeah.
Not
So
again.
I guess Comic Sans almost classifies as a meta singularity, but it's not quite. It's more controlling.
By the definition, I think it falls under the definition.
Mm-hmm.
Colloquially, it's a little different, but yeah, I guess it kind of is. That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
It's just like Google's tagline. Don't be evil. I bet Comic Sans had the same thing. To be honest.
I mean,
And then
some people suspect they came from a similar origin.
mm, for all we know, it's the Google of another dimension.
This is true. If only we had time travel, then we could go back, like meta universal time travel. Then we could go back and find out where the origin of, like, what happened in the origin of that and change that. But that hasn't been discovered yet. We still only have time travel in a single universe, so.
If only, dude. We are this close,
I
but
know.
the problem is we need some goot juice from a parallel existence entirely.
Yeah.
And getting goot juice like that, like the fact that we even know of its existence is a miracle in and of itself. I mean, they reached out to us. There's no way we could have located it. But
It's
now
kinda
we
scary.
know. It is. It is. Knowing that They're more technologically advanced if
Yeah,
they can reach out to us.
they can reach out to us, then that means they have the power of multiverses.
That's scary.
Goes up a
And if
whole
they have
nother
the goot
level.
juice, dude,
Mm-hmm.
then they can do multiversal extra existential plane time travel, which
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
just it's just I don't even want to think about it. Not worth
So
thinking about,
complicated.
It's
It's like going back in time through like the internet. That's how complicated it is.
overwhelming.
Yep.
No single mortal can go back in time through the internet and survive.
Well, I mean, you can go back in time through your search history, but you can't
Sure, but
move the entirety of the internet to a slice of time prior.
you wouldn't survive.
Not a single human.
Your computer would explode too, probably.
Probably.
Well, we have exciting things to look forward to.
We do. We do. Goot juice is on the
Good
radar.
juice.
The
Looking
scientists are
forward to
looking
that.
for it. We don't have any negative scientists, unfortunately.
Shh, they are hard to come by.
Yeah.
They. The thing is that they like to destroy stuff. So finding a scientist, you're going to
Yeah.
need someone who is specifically wants to destroy scientific progress.
Yep. It's really difficult.
Well,
Everyone likes
we'll
destroying
see what we can
buildings, you
do.
know?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's fun, but yeah, destroying specific scientific tools and discoveries, that's pretty niche.
Yep.
Hopefully, we can find one.
Maybe we will. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Shall we take off the glasses?
I think it's about time. Ah, ah,
Yours came
oh,
off a lot harder.
oh man, yeah, they don't fit me as well as they should probably.
Oh, I thought it was the color.
The color is another issue, but it's also the size. It's just if they don't perfectly match up, then you got that dimensional suction on you, and it's like
Right.
not fun.
Yep.
I'll get them refitted. I'll take them to the tailor.
True.
That'll be fine.
Right,
But
Comic
hey,
Sans?
Comic
It'll
Sans,
just be fine. We're just telling our viewers it'll be fine.
it'll be
Everything's
great.
going according to plan. We're selling them the newest products, the Gung Ho Jing Drop. Um,
Honestly, pretty cool product. The fact that you can fall up into a plane using it, that's pretty sick.
I mean, yeah, you just buy it, just drink it down real quick, splurt it in both of your ears, and then all of a sudden you're falling 1,000 miles an hour, and then you're slowing down and you're inside a plane, and you didn't even know what happened.
So hey guys, grab a couple bottles. We got a deal going on. It's $24.99 for 3. So great deal.
Yep.
That price is going to be twice what it is now
Yep.
in a couple days. So
Parachutes are
take a
100
look.
bucks. Bring a parachute, take the ride down as well.
Exactly. And by the way, they don't even recommend a parachute. It's just an extra safety precaution.
Well, I'm just saying, if you want to do the skydiving journey after the reverse
Oh, right.
skydiving journey,
Good thinking. Good
yep,
thinking.
yeah,
Oh, that's a great idea. I want to try that.
it'd be pretty cool.
It would. Man, we got one more segment here.
We do.
We do.
Shall we?
It's exciting, man. I think we shall.
Okay, we shall. Look at this. It's totally legible. As always. Oh, it's taken...
I'm behind. There it is. Oh.
I still hasn't come up on my screen. How are you
that's an
ahead of my
exciting
screen?
one. I don't know. Oh, these look really cool, too. I look forward to hearing yours. Wow.
Wow.
Good idea. Good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So...
Shall we flip a coin?
Why don't we do that?
All right.
Because
Coin. Because what?
we've been foiled by time.
We have. It's been a long time. Heads or tails?
I will take tails.
Questions. I will take
Tails
tails as well.
never fails. Wait, what?
It's heads. It's neither of us. No, I'll take heads. All right.
Steven, I have a question for you then.
What? Whoa. You got real close there. Sorry. It's just whoa.
The question is getting closer, okay? The question
Okay.
is, what is your world?
Wow. What's my world, Christian?
Yes.
You're rocking my world with that question, buddy.
Yeah?
Have you ever heard of a horseshoe?
Mm-hmm.
Get ready to have your mind excised and placed back into your skull. Because my world, there's no planet shaped like a horseshoe. There's no horseshoe in this world. Space itself is shaped like a horseshoe.
Okay.
So imagine we got our 3D space, it's flat. People describe it as a sheet, flat sheet, My world, no. It's a whole horseshoe. So imagine you take our 3D flat sheet of space-time. That's what I'm talking about, space-time. You wrap it up into a tube, and then you bend it in half.
Hmm.
All right? That's what this world looks like. It's called Kramoldon. The people there's many different types of people living there inside this space. Because of the aspects of space-time there, life is different. In fact, life is vastly different. The concept of places being far away, it exists, but it's uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's largely unnecessary. Because the fact that this world allows you to traverse around one of the tubes of this like horseshoe sort of shape, allows you to traverse around one of these tubes, has tremendous implications for everything. Because you might think that going around this horseshoe in space-time is going to take a bajillion years. No. It takes 4 months. Space is vastly shrunken down in this world. Do you walk 4 months in one direction, you are back to the same place you are. Every place in this world is designed to communicate with almost every other place in this entire space.
Mm-hmm.
There is one plot of land in this world. It just goes. It's the only thing there. The concept of a sky, the concept of space and things being out there doesn't actually exist. When you look up, you see a fuzz, almost like incredibly fine steel wool that's sort of sparse, and then it condenses in the middle to just a black. And so above you, looking straight up, it's black, but in the very core of it. But as this fuzz sort of, the closer it is to you, the more silvery it appears. Almost like clouds in a way, but also not at all. You could almost describe it as like a metal mesh that sort of condenses in when you look straight up. So like you look at the side, it looks more like a metal mesh is covering the entire skyscape, all the way off into the horizon. So these people here, they're all about interacting with each other. They're all about getting different places, interacting with different individuals. So even though they don't have a concept of far distance, they don't have to worry about it. These people are fast, very fast. The majority of their body is round, almost like a sphere, almost like a tire. It's basically tire shaped, donut shaped, and sort of blown up.
Mm-hmm.
So when they move, they're just like the bottom half of their body, their little head sits on top, just goes, and they roll away. So they want to go visit their friend. They traverse for 2 weeks and they're there. They want to meet the furthest person away from them they possibly can. What they do is, say you're in this horseshoe, right, of space. This, if you're here, the other guy, the furthest person is here, because you would have to go all the way around this way, right? But no, you don't, because going upward in this world is akin to traveling through the fabric of space-time. All they have to do is pop out from here and go straight to here.
Oh.
So it's a shorter trip to get to here. So that's what they do. They've developed gigantic slingshot cannons, not dissimilar to that one amusement park ride where the people sit in the little seat and they go,
Mm-hmm.
but it launches them. And they've developed a sort of capsule that basically spins and drills through the fabric, the metal mesh that covers the top of their dimension. They go straight through one, find themselves in an empty void for what seems like an eternity. That's what they all say. It seems like an eternity. But just as soon as it comes, it leaves, and they see another metal mesh approaching. And boom, straight through into a little receptacle that slows them down, and they hop out. And they can meet the furthest person away in the universe.
Wow.
Their culture is sprawling. There's a lot of different aspects to their culture because of this. Because there's different types of people. There's not just tired dudes. There's super tall dudes too. They're called the keepers. They often, most of them, dedicate their lives to collecting knowledge and recording cultures and things people have learned and written down in giant libraries. So on one of the tubes, there's a section that is just miles of shelves of libraries, and these tall dudes, they're like a good 10 feet tall. They just slump around, and they write down what they need to, and they put it away. And people come from far and wide to explore these catacombs of knowledge. And so a lot of people there are very well read, and they're very cultured. And it's really just a place of social prosperity primarily. They worship the U shape. They aren't actually cognizant that their space time is shaped like a U.
Uh-huh.
The catapult that they use to travel between places, the origins of that have been lost long ago to time. It's unknown whether it was one of the species or whether it was another species entirely that's gone, or whether it's just a fact of reality there that some extra dimensional being designed the world that way. They don't know. Their records don't go back that far. And that's my world.
That is quite the world. Can the people on those ends see the other end?
In the time that... So that when the drill goes through... Remember, there's a metal mesh. Oh, wait. What do you mean by the end?
For the slingshotting. Can you
So
see?
can they see straight across? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So when the drill goes through one side, from the perspective of anyone on the ground, the drill instantly goes through the other side, the other tube. So it goes in this one, out this one instantaneously. But for the people inside, there's a mere moment of moments where it feels like an eternity before they reach the other side. The people on the ground, because it's instantaneous, there's a hole in the mesh for a fairly substantial period of time, up to a minute, before the mesh reforms and becomes exactly like it was before.
Wow.
So they can't actually see through to the other side.
Okay. Very cool.
It's my world. Well, that was it was good to go back through memory lane, man.
Yes.
You know what? I want to learn something new.
You do?
I do, and I think the best place I can learn it is from you. Why don't you tell me something, Christian?
Okay.
What is your world?
You want to know?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I really do.
All right. My world is um a six-legged man sitting on a pair of bongo drums, and he's at a drum set, all right?
Uh huh.
And they're in front of him,
Yeah.
and he'll tap on them every now and then. But these aren't your standard drums. No, no, no. These are cosmic drums. Each drum is a universe. He'll tap on it. He'll just with his own vibe, he'll tap on it. His six legs, they'll tap on it. Um, I think there's probably like six of the big drums with the pedals, one for each foot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when he's doing in his downtime, not tapping, he is chomping on some gummy worms,
Mm.
having some spaghetti, and looking at his pet snakes. So it's kind of like a dark atmosphere, right? The focus is this six-legged man, kind of pale blue skin, um, humble garbs, just something that sits on the body, nothing that's all complicated and tucked together. And it's just him living his day. He's got his drums. He really likes playing, and he's got his spaghetti and his gummy worms. And you might ask, what exactly happens when he plays the drums?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is cosmic music. He creates ripples through time at each drum press, each beat. He's orchestrating the universe, right? And
Whoa.
sometimes dust, cosmic dust, will get off on his fingers from one drum and will make its way into another drum. And this is where this interesting phenomenon, where you don't like it, we can't even describe it. Like the people who live in those galaxies, those universes, they can't describe what's going on here. But it's like realities can mix sometimes, and they get a little smeared, a little imperfect. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
adds a little bit of flavor to the different universes. It's like he's painting a picture, It's like got a little bit of the red stars going on. Oh, now I sprinkle those in over here in the purple drum. Um,
Sounds like
and
Bob Ross of Dimensions.
he kind of is the Bob Ross of music dimensions. He except he's bald. But I
Oh, it's
mean,
a big
it's
difference.
a big difference. He knows all the Bob Rosses from each of his drums. He pays careful
Nice.
attention to them. He'll get real close to his drum and look at him and be like, "Oh yeah, that guy. He's like me." Um, but he's real humble about it. He wouldn't say it like that. So, yeah. And his name is Flub.
I love him.
Yes, Flub. And he's great. He's a good guy. Um, we don't know
I want to
what
meet him.
style he plays because it's too complicated for us to annotate. But if he did have sheet music for his guitar his drums, it would be four-dimensional sheet music. So we wouldn't be able to see it, but it's probably moving through his head in the fifth dimension.
Mm.
So yeah,
Whoa,
that is Flub. Um, he's having a good time right now. That's my world.
dude, I'm feeling the vibes right now.
Yeah.
I think he's tapping on my drum, dude.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
It's when you get. Is that why you get? Is that why you randomly get songs stuck in your head?
That is why
He
you
does it
randomly
like
get
that.
songs stuck in your head. That is why you get inspired. It's the entire reason for any sort of inspiration. When you're feeling down, that he is not tapping on your drum, okay?
Dude.
Yep.
Dude. And he's just waiting for that one
That beat.
part in that one song to come back to you.
Yep.
Oh.
Takes patience.
Thank you, Flub.
He's there.
Dude, I don't know what to ask.
Is there anything to ask about Flub?
He's a simple man.
He's a simple man. He's got his life all figured out.
What's his favorite food?
Well, if it weren't gummy worms and spaghetti, I don't know what it would be.
That's fair. You know what? That was a bad question. Next question is, what's his favorite animal?
Okay.
Yes.
Snakes.
What's the name of his? What are the names? Is he multiple snakes or one snake?
He's got a plethora of snakes. He's got a good number.
Oh, he's got a bunch.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Where does he get them? Where do you get them?
Sometimes he'll use the cosmic dust for his own purposes occasionally.
Some creative man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he'll just, and then he has a snake, and then he can put it in his whatever fancy word that thing is called.
Cage.
Cage, yes. No. Yeah, that's good enough.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Dude, he's great.
Yeah.
Love
But
him.
there's no Mrs. Flub.
Does he want a Mrs.
Does he
Flub?
want a Mrs. Flub? This is the question. He's pretty chill. He doesn't need a Mrs. Flub. But if he found one, maybe he would start playing a different beat.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe more people will be inspired by him.
Ooh. Maybe that's the cause for, like, the ups and downs of history. Times where he's inspired us more, times when he's inspired us less.
I think it could be. Yeah. Makes sense.
It just rests in the song.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Precisely.
Damn. That's deep.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're
I love your world.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, hi. What's your world?
Whoa.
If you feel like writing it down, in the comments, send a letter to me. Tattoo it on my arm.
Whoa.
Whatever you wish, whatever you desire. Communicate it telepathically. Just let me know you did it, so we can make sure it's
True. Get permission.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's always good to get
Consent. Yeah.
Let us know.
Let us know. We shall see your world. Maybe if we had like if people actually sent their worlds, we could do a podcast where we go over them. And
that'd be cool.
Split.
And we could like talk about them.
Yeah.
Ask some questions.
Wow.
That'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool.
So y'all, if you got a world, you wanna share a world of yours, do it. Love to hear it.
Yep.
Good podcasting with you, Christian.
It was amazing.
It was great.
It
Loved
was an
it.
awesome. I'll have to wait 30 seconds before I say it was an awesome 90 minutes. But that's okay.
Oh, you have the timer, yeah.
I do have the timer.
Oh, good timing, dude. Well, I mean, if you didn't know, we originally planned for the podcast with the K to be an hour each episode.
This is true.
That has almost never... Has it ever happened?
I think it happened the first few times.
I think you're right. Yes.
I think the longest one was an hour 54.
Oh, the VR chat one is an hour and 50.
I think there's one. We actually did the last one we did. I think. Oh, wait.
Wait, the lost episode?
Was it the lost episode or was it episode Was it the meditation one that was
The
the longest
meditating
one?
one is 151.
Okay. Okay. So it was second most. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff.
Goodness gracious.
All right.
It's great.
Internet
Have a good night,
peoples.
guys.
Peace. Thumbs
Well,
up.
enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed it.
All of the emotes. Thank you for coming to our podcast with a kiss. Oh wait, a K and an S.
Every podcast with a K begins with a K.
No, it has every podcast has a K in the middle of it.
Every podcast with a K.
Podcast. Every cast begins with a K.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that's better.
And
Every
ends with
cast-
one who's kissed.
What?
PodKaSt.
Every podcast begins with a K and ends with a kiss.
That way there's some S's in there for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Every podcast has a sk.
Sk.
A sk.
PodKaSt. You can just spell podcast with a K and an S instead of a C and a... Wait. There's already an S.
It's an S. We should just capitalize the K and S.
We could. We could.
We could do that.
And then whenever we have a guest who has their name starting with one of the other letters...
Yes. I love it. Agreed.
All right.
And we should just replace the letters.
Oh, just
like if
always
like for
incorporate
somebody
them.
with a D,
PodKaSt.
just do a PodKaSt.
Oh
That's
wait,
good.
there's
I
a
was
D in
thinking-
pod already. we're
the
up
heck?
here. We're not down here.
How do we not? How do we not know
It's like when you can't do addition and subtraction, but you can do like probabilities and statistics.
You can do like triple integrals like the back of your hand.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
can't like add
Yep,
16 plus 7.
yep,
I get it.
yep. Oh, I also lied because 90 minutes was for live, not for recording.
Oh, okay. So it's a little less for the recording.
Yes, a
there you
little
go.
But now that we've had our extended outro, we shall say goodbye to the recording peoples.
Goodbye, recording people.
Goodbye, recording peoples.